So one of the most important pieces of equipment we need when we own aquariums is a thermometer, and there's so many different choices out there. How do you know which one is best? Well, today I'm going to show you which one is worse by far. And as far as which one is best, that kind of depends. There's lots of different factors. So I'm going to show you the worst, and then I'm going to show you what works best for me. So again, just to stress this, there's not just one thermometer that's going to be the best for everyone. There's so many different situations. Someone that has one aquarium is not going to need the same thing as someone like me who has 50 aquariums in a climate controlled room. But like I said, there's definitely one option that is the worst no matter what your situation is, and that's what we're going to look at first. And that is these beautiful, lovely stick-on thermometers. A lot of people may think these are cool. You just slap it on your tank and bam, you have your temperature. I'll admit, when I was younger, I thought these looked cool, and it was the only thermometer I would use. I had aquariums, I had terrariums, reptiles, fish, it didn't matter. I thought these were cool, and I stuck them on all my tanks. However, there are some pretty glaring issues with this thermometer. One being, it's on the outside of your aquarium. Obviously, that should be ringing bells in your head. If it doesn't, you were like me and just thought it looked cool, and you're like, hey, it says a temperature, it must be right. But the thing is, when it's on the outside of your aquarium, your ambient room temperature is gonna have some sort of effect on this thermometer. If you have your aquarium set to 78 degrees and say your house, the AC is on at 68 degrees, then that's gonna affect this temperature and it's not gonna show 78 degrees. Of course, the other glaringly obvious issue should be the size of your tank. A 10-gallon tank is going to have a way more accurate reading when it comes to these stick-on thermometers. However, if you throw one of these thermometers on, say, a 90-gallon or 120, 125, the thicker the glass, the less accurate these thermometers are going to be. And the more the ambient room temperature is going to affect the temperature on the thermometer. Now, like I said, I used these a lot as a kid, and I can tell you, they have a lifespan, and it generally seems to be right around that 10 to 12 month range, and these things start having issues. Whether it's showing 3 different temperatures, or the numbers not lighting up, or getting stuck on one temperature, something always went wrong with these thermometers in about that 10 to 12 month mark. So even if it was reading an accurate temperature for the first year of its life, you really can't trust it after that. Now, I bought this specifically for this video, and there was a lot of questions on these thermometers on Amazon. So I'm gonna read a couple of the more common ones. Does the strip covering the adhesive need to be removed in order to work? No. No, it'll show the temperature of your room. No matter where you put it, it'll work. It'll show the temperature. The next common question, does it have Wi-Fi? Do these stick-on thermometers have built-in Wi-Fi? Moving on, I can't even, I'm just gonna move on. Do these work underwater? Okay, here we have a legit fair question. Yes, they will work inside your aquarium if you want to stick it on the inside of your glass. However, the adhesive is not going to last very long, and I doubt the leftover residue is something you want your plecos sucking on. Just not a good idea. Don't put them underwater. Don't put them inside your aquarium. Another common question on this thermometer was, does it only go to 93 degrees? Normal body temperature is 98.6. These are for aquariums, folks, not for you to slap on your wrist and monitor your temperature. So these LCD stick-on thermometers, by far the worst thing in the world. Do not use them. Just don't. If you're new to the hobby, get this next option, which is not my favorite, but I want to talk about it because it's by far the most common, and that is the sinking, floating suction cup thermometer. I just want to bring this one up quickly because for your everyday average aquarist, this is definitely going to suit your needs. They're tried and true. They've been used for decades. But there are some things to consider when choosing these for your aquariums. For instance, if you use these on plastic or acrylic aquariums, it will leave like a round spot on it from outside the suction cup, and those are almost impossible to get off. Definitely do not use these on plastic aquariums unless you don't care about that. And the next big thing that I have found out the hard way, well, obviously you look at it and you know it's made of glass, but it is made of glass. I can't tell you how many times I was removing, adding, or moving hardware, whether it's wood or rocks, and I accidentally shattered. I actually shattered one of these from putting on a hang-on back filter. I just wasn't paying attention. So be careful when you're adding, moving, or removing hardscape. Make sure you know your thermometer is actually stuck on the glass and not floating around some random place, or you're gonna be a buffoon and shatter it like me. I've also had some instances when these are not always accurate. It seems like the older they get, the more issues come up. So you just want to double check it every year or two, probably like once a year, just to make sure it's still accurate. There was also some common questions when it came to these suction cup thermometers that I want to address real quick, and that was, what is the temperature of the green zone? If you're looking at these, it has the green zone in there. That's the low part of that is 70 and the upper part is 80, which anywhere in there, generally you're okay, but there are some fish that are not gonna like it in the low 70s, like German blue rams, discus, things like that. So just keep that in mind. That green zone is not like a safety zone. Definitely tailor your temperature to your fish. Another common question was, what is each line? What increment? So each line is 2 degrees. Right? So the bottom of that green is 70, the next little line above that is 72. What is the tank size range for these suction cup thermometers? So when I first read this question, I kind of shook my head. It's a thermometer working all size tanks, but if you actually think about it, like a 6-foot tank, a 125 or a 240, like my 8-foot tank, the temperature on one side can be completely different than the temperature on the other side. So in a longer tank, get 2 of them, split them up, you'll have no problems. And then one that made me giggle that was asked a lot, and a lot of people actually said they did this, which is kind of terrifying. They said, will it work if I suction cup it to the outside of my aquarium? I mean, technically yes, but do you want your room temperature or do you want your tank temperature? Put it in your tanks, folks. That's what it's designed to do. That's what it's made to do, unless you really want the temperature of your room. And now for my favorite thermometer that works best for my situation. Again, my situation, I am surrounded by fish tanks. I'm in a room that's temperature controlled. So the only time I really check my water is when I'm doing water changes. If I have to raise the temperature to treat sick fish, this is my go-to right here. So there's a lot of things I like about this thermometer. Besides it being insanely accurate, it's super fast to read the temperature. Like any cooking thermometer, you know, you poke it in there, you just dip this along your tanks, and I can go from one to the other as I'm doing water change and verify that everything is normal. And there's one other thing that makes this stand out as my favorite, and for aquariums, it's insanely important. So as you can see, I just happen to be doing water changes right now. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna stick my thermometer in here. Chip. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, dang it. Oh, look at that. It still works. That's right. You can drop it in your aquarium. It is somewhat waterproof. Now, it's not submersible. So if you stick it in here and keep it in here for a while, you're gonna break it. Don't do it. It's only waterproof rated for drops, quick dunks, things like that. But, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've dropped this, just going from tank to tank to tank, whoop. So in our world of water, it definitely pays for it to be waterproof, somewhat waterproof. And like most of these style of thermometers, it does have auto shut off, so you can just lay it down. I mean, there's on off there too, but it does come with an extra battery, which is nice. So there you have it, the absolute worst thermometers for your aquarium, the stick-on thermometer. If this video prevents one person from buying one of these thermometers, then this video is a huge success in my book. Again, there's a lot of variations on what could be the best thermometer. I'm just showing what works best for me in a situation when I have about 50 aquariums. Obviously, if you only have 1 or 2 aquariums in your room, just get the glass suction cup thermometer. They work great. Another thermometer that a lot of people use is the heat gun. I have found this to give inaccurate readings if you're farther than 2 feet away. So if I like check this 20-gallon tank up there, it says 74 degrees. If I put that other thermometer in there, it's gonna say 77. So 3 degrees, isn't that big a deal? It can be, it definitely can be. So the other thing is like going through glass. I've also found it to give inaccurate readings. But if you're close, it's usually only about 1 degree off. So just something else to keep in mind if you're gonna use a heat gun. Try to be as close as you can and try to aim it at the water and not through the glass at the water. It does make a difference. Let me know down in the comments below what you're using for a thermometer, what your favorites are. I'm kind of curious what people use. I really hope you're not using these stick-on LCD thermometers, but if you are, let me know, mate. I'm sure some people have had a good experience with them. Like I said, not me. I think they do more harm than good long term. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Also, the subscribe and the notification bell, very important. I would appreciate the support, and I'll see you all next time.